Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio, the podcast recently voted in the industry of Amazon sellers as the number one podcast for Amazon sellers. Pretty cool. Very grateful for the support and how you help spread the word about our show. That's the marketing for this. We have a $0 marketing budget for this show. It's just word of mouth. And I think the reason that it really resonates with people is we bring real people on this show and we talk to them about the very real challenges and exciting, passionate successes that they've experienced as a result of following the content that's taught on this show. It's a flywheel of success stories and instruction that leads to more success stories and even new, more interesting takes and observations about what it means to succeed on the world's largest e-commerce platform, Amazon. That's a lot of what we do around here. We're a multiple income stream podcast. We love talking about all kinds of creative e-commerce ideas, but the one that's the most predictable and stable, the one that we take anyone who's willing to pay attention to what we're showing them and to do the work to build a great business, well, that's Amazon reselling. And we continue to be so bullish about it and see incredible success stories constantly. That's what our show is primarily about. And today I'm bringing on some guests. If you've listened to our show for a while, you've heard them many times before. Brian and Robin Joy Olson are great friends. They're great leaders in our community. They're very successful sellers. They're actually coaching team leaders as well, meaning of our 60 coaches, several of them are working under Brian and Robin Joy's leadership and mentorship to help serve this community. And you'll hear them talk today as I interview them. They've coached hundreds of people through our coaching programs. If you want to have a conversation with someone about our coaching, by the way, if you want to go further, faster, and see if you're well positioned to take advantage of what we offer there and be one of our incredible coaching success stories, you can reach us anytime. Go to silentjim.com/book a call. We'll stick that link in the show notes as well. Book a call. Just go there. You can see a phone number. You can text us if you'd like anytime. We'd love to have a conversation, completely free, half-hour conversation. And maybe you want to be coached by Brian and Robin Joy or someone on their team. We'll let you know their availability. But what we do around here is we teach strategies that work, that are time-tested and proven, and then we interview the people who are succeeding with those strategies. But let's get back to Brian and Robin Joy. So they've got an exciting project. I'm going to let them tell you what it is. I don't want to steal any thunder. And I just love hanging out with them every chance I get. We're just a couple weeks on the other side of our live event that just happened in Orlando, Florida. And they were there and taught and shared a lot of really incredible strategies and ideas that they've also, the Olsons are behind a workshop that we do. It's called the 100 ASIN Workshop. We'll stick a link for some details about that in the show notes as well. But they've compiled all that into an exciting project, and it's something that you can get very inexpensive, tons of value. I'm going to let them tell you all about it as we spend some time hanging out with Brian and Robin Joy. Thanks for coming along on this episode. Let's get over and talk to Brian and Robin Joy. So, Olsons, good to see you, my friends.
Hey, good to see you
thanks,
too,
Jim. Great to see you.
We're not on the screen at the same time very often.
I know.
People maybe wonder if we even know each other. Yeah?
I know.
But you guys do such a great job on Wednesdays and once a week or so. And we've had a kind of a crazy summer with the conference and all that. But man, I'm excited to connect with you guys post-conference. And just for those who maybe don't know who you guys are, why don't you talk through what your roles are a little bit? I may have mentioned a little in the introduction, but and then we'll get into some exciting project you guys have been on.
Okay. Awesome. Great. Yeah. It sort of feels like a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Because like 5 years ago this month, we were on here as guests, our very first guest podcast.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't.
So excited.
Yeah.
5 years. Wow, that was fast.
I know. It goes by fast, right? We used to sit for like the first half of 2020. We used to sit out on our patio and pretend we were on the podcast and just hope one day that, that
you would ask us.
that we would be worthy of being on the show. And so it's just awesome to be back. And, a lot of it has changed in these last 5 years. I mean, probably in 2021, I started coaching, and within about a year after that, Robin joined me in the coaching venture. And so we've been coaching, creating content, hit you up about the idea for Coach's Corner and doing the Coach's Corner podcast, speaking at the Proven Conference, and Robin's got her own things in the community as well.
Well, yeah, the Kickstart program. I've been doing that and just really, really enjoying that. And coaching, I'm just really glad that I had the opportunity to do that because I really, really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are great coaching team leaders and just consistently are spoken so highly of in the community. You teach from the heart. You truly care. You know your stuff. And one of the comments that stands out to me was after one of the first couple of workshops we did with you guys, where someone said they had taken all kinds of professional, high level, tens of thousands of dollars, like high end trainings, corporate training, that kind of thing. They'd never experienced anything like what you guys put together, and just absolutely were raving about it. So I appreciate the professionalism and the attention to detail that you guys bring to the incredible opportunities that we teach around here. And I think we can dive right in from here. Like, I'm super excited. You guys have a big announcement to make.
We
do. We're pretty excited too. So
we just finished our first book. We're very excited.
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, now it's like 99% finished, right?
Yeah. It'll never be totally finished. I'll tell you that. The moment you let it go, you're going to flip through and be like, oh my gosh, we've got a typo.
This is why we had to put a date on it, because if we had to put a date on it, just keep going and going and going. Right?
Exactly.
So we said, we drew a line in the sand and say, okay, July 31st. July 31st is when you can buy this book. And we're happy to talk about it a little bit today. But before we go too far, I just want to say, hey, Jim, huge thank you. We're so grateful that you're a leader in this community that inspires so many, including us. And you were nice enough to write the foreword for this book for us. And it just means the world to us that, first of all, you know who we are. And second of all, we're able to contribute, and you see the value that we're trying to bring here. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I mean, I say all the time that being in business is a leadership journey, and you guys have embraced that. What does it mean to be on a leadership journey? You're using your voice more. You're using your face more. You're teaching people what it is that you know. You're repeating yourself a lot. That's a lot of being a leader, right? You guys have figured that out. Yep. But so for a leader on our team, in our community, to say, hey, I've got a book. That's kind of what Jimmy Smith did. And he kind of launched him into leadership roles in our community, is creating content that serves others well. And there's something magic about a book. I've always been a big fan. I think everyone should write a book at some point. I call it the best business card you'll ever have. But it's an honor to support you guys, because it just supports this whole flywheel of opportunity and success stories, and teaching each other what we've learned, which leads to more opportunity and more success stories. And it's this self-turning wheel of opportunity and wins for everyone. And having your leaders write a great book and share from the heart and speak, in transparent terms about this community, it's fantastic. So dive in wherever you guys want to go. I want to hear about this book. Now, I did flip through it, so I know quite a bit about it, but most people listening have no idea. Like, what's this book? Let's talk about it.
So the title of the book is called PATH, which is an acronym. So PATH, and it's for Prospect, Assess, Test, and Harvest. And this is basically the journey that we take our coaching clients on, and the journey that we take our workshop attendees on over the 2 days that we're doing the workshop. And we basically boiled down the content from that workshop into this book. And so it's all the practical steps and the sort of frameworks and systems that we use and we teach in that 2-day workshop. Of course, it's not going to replicate the workshop, because there's so much that you get live, so much more that you get live, a lot more collaboration, conversation, questions, things you didn't even think about, questions to ask or whatever. But really the primary frameworks that we teach in that workshop, that's what this book is comprised of.
Yeah, we found that these people that we were working with needed a reference. When we're not there, they need to have some place to go to check up. Wait, am I doing this right? What was that called again? How do I go next? So we felt like it would be a really good reference for people to have available to them, not something to read and put on the shelf and be done with, but to actually use, we hope, as they're building their foundation and improving their business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not a read from start to finish, put it down. I've now know everything there is to know. It's more of you can kind of reference in and attack your weaknesses kind of thing. Go to the part you need. As I was flipping through it, I don't recall having that thought, but it makes sense to me now that as I'm kind of reviewing. So there's going to be different sections that are more applicable to different people at different seasons of their business. That sounds like correct.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, this whole thing came from when Robin first started coaching. She noticed that people were hesitant to pull the trigger, because you feel like, a lot of people coming in, they feel like they need to know everything before they take their first step, right?
Right.
It's sort of like, let's say you live around the Indy area and you're going to take a car trip down to Orlando, right? You're not going to break out a map of the United States and draw in every state highway and every interstate and every 2-lane blacktop across the whole country just for your trip to Indy to Orlando. You're just going to draw out your route to from point A to point B, right? We see this a lot with people coming into this business too, where they feel like they have to know where all the roads are and all this stuff. Or if we're going to do the cooking analogy, they have to know all the techniques of the French culinary food prep when they just want to make a cake. Really, all you need to do is a recipe to make a cake.
Mhm.
So this same sort of thing is how this 3-step check that was the foundation of this all came about, which is you don't need the PhD in Keepa. You just need to know like some things that will keep you out of trouble and give you a great opportunity to make some money.
Absolutely. And I want to say too, that one of the things that I saw during that time was that people were looking at a test and a replenishment, making the same decision, trying to make that at the same time. And we found that when we separated those things, it was easier to understand. A test is a test. A test is to see if it's going to be replenishable or not, and you need to wait for the results in order to make that decision. Then the replenishment decision is made after you get the results from the test, and then you'll replenish if it's worthy, and you won't if it's not at this time.
Yeah.
Right. So we tried to break it down into very clear decision points, very clear things that are, yeses and nos, not too muddy for somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience, or somebody who's trying to teach or hire someone who doesn't have a lot of experience. They can hand off these programs as well.
Yeah, just getting people actually in motion is what makes the biggest difference, because this whole analysis paralysis that exists here for us, especially as the Amazon marketplace has evolved over the years, it's not like it used to be where we might be able to buy something and sell it in the same week. Now it takes a little bit more time to get that feedback. There are other benefits to that too, but Robin calls it, well, 2 things she likes to say a lot lately is like it's front loaded, right? We have to do a decent amount of work before we start getting some of that feedback from Amazon. And that period of time when you do the work before you start getting the feedback is the quiet period. And this is where we find that a lot of people struggle and often just throw up their hands and quit. Like, okay, I've done step A, I've done step B, I've done step C, but nothing's happening on step D yet. What's going on? I must be doing this wrong. And really, they're not doing it wrong. They're doing all the, mostly they're probably doing the right things. It's just, we got to give it a little more time and a little more effort.
Right. You say most aren't doing it wrong.
Yeah.
They just need to do more of
it. Yeah.
And when you know what to expect, what you're supposed to expect, that makes it a whole lot easier, I think.
Yeah.
Right. So, it occurs to me as I'm thinking about this book, that there's probably very few things that are completely new that you guys haven't said elsewhere before.
Yeah.
But it's just some people have different learning styles.
Mm-hmm.
And, they don't want to watch videos. They don't want to come to a workshop necessarily. They're not big on, an audio course, but a book in their hands, like, okay, I can mark it up. I can read, I can fold and earmark the pages that mean something to me. And I kind of learned that way. That's probably my favorite way to learn, is to mark up a book and kind of use it as a reference as I need it. So I think it's going to serve a lot of people who otherwise maybe haven't quite found that thing that tips that tipping point. And I love the way you guys always frame and illustrate so well. For me, I say we're a just-in-time education organization, not a just-in-case organization.
That's right.
And I expect people to kind of know what I mean. But you guys just illustrated it beautifully, right? The map, like I love it. The visual of the map. Like if you're planning a trip from Indiana to Florida, I don't need to map out the whole United States in case I accidentally turn right while I'm heading south and end up in Utah. I don't need to plan for those eventualities. If that happens, I'll get out the map and I'll adjust. But I need to know point A, point B, step 1, step 2, step 3. And you guys have really helped turn what we do around here into that level of process. So that's a lot of value. I'm excited to see you guys have this book. So let's be real clear. Who is this for and who isn't this for? If we could kind of identify it. You've kind of hit it that a little bit, but let's make that super clear for folks.
So, for those who are just getting started, I think it's a great resource because it will kind of map out that trip from Indy to Florida, for you. If you are already sort of working this business and you're looking for ways to tweak and make improvements, a great solution for that. And we also were saying yesterday, as we were chatting about this, it helps people raise the floor on their existing business. So you've already built a foundation and it's going okay for you, but you'd like to raise the bar on that. This is another great application, I think, right? It's highly practical. It's not something that was like, oh, I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna think about it and I'm gonna implement it and I'll check back in 9 to 12 months. No, you're gonna get much more, immediate results or gratification from it than that kind of timeline. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I do. I'm reminded of one of our attendees from one of our workshops. He told me that he had a business that's already doing really well. It wasn't that he needed. What he was doing was he had VAs and contractors that were working for him, and he needed something that he could put together and hand them off without them having to have a PhD in his business. They need to do a task for him. And these concepts and frameworks in this book are actually how to do certain tasks. So they're very easy to hand off and move away from, so you don't have to keep working with this person forever, and they can learn quickly. So it works well for people who are starting to outsource, or they have outsourced and had trouble with that. I think it will work really well for them as well.
I think a lot of people don't quite understand the difference between a system and a framework. And I've been thinking on this because I know you like the visuals. And so let me see if I can give you this visual here. Have you ever bought like that furniture, the flat furniture from like IKEA or whatever, and you have to assemble it yourself?
Right. And sometimes the instructions are in a foreign language, and other times it's super easy. Right. You never know what you're going to get till you open it up. But yeah.
Well, so we at one point we had bought some chairs that were like that, and I'm assembling the cross piece, the legs, they're like cross pieces, and then I'm putting the seat of this chair on there. And, there's 4 screws that are supposed to go in there. And so what do? Your dad teaches you, you put in the screw and make sure it's tight. And so I put in the first one and I put in the second one, and then I go to put in the third one and the hole doesn't line up. And the screw hole for the fourth one doesn't line up either. So then I realize what my mistake is. I need to back those screws off and give it a little bit of play before I can put the other 2 screws in, before everything really lines up, right? Once I've got it all lined up, then I can bolt it down. And this is a saying that we learned in this community too, right? Bolt it down. And so the framework is like, it's a loose alignment of what this is. And what we teach or what we write about in this book is the framework, right? It's there for you to tweak it a little bit and dial it in. And then once you got it dialed in, lock it or bolt it down.
Yeah, that illustrates beautifully how I think everyone's business winds up looking a little different, even among our leadership team and our coaches. Some people swear by having Walmart as a backup plan. Like they don't know how they could live without it. Other people are like, I don't need Walmart at all. Like, I flip a few extra things on eBay or Facebook Marketplace when I need to. Like, I'm too busy for Walmart. Other people have the certain tool mix that they're using, but we're all building a chair. We're all filling unmet needs in the world's largest e-commerce marketplace. We're filling those, we're finding underserved ASINs. We're finding products that we can sell at a profit. We're building a system to do that. Yeah, I love that, the framework concept of, where we all kind of similar, but then what you end up bolting down may look very different than someone else's business based on.
Someone else we had at the workshop was, maybe let Robin drop her name in a minute, but she's a, 7-figure a year seller. And it was... At least, yeah, maybe 8. I'm not exactly sure, but does very well as a solopreneur. And someone was asking her during this workshop, like, what's her favorite way to source? What did she say? Who was it? And what did she say?
Her name is Chris Beam, and she's a very good coach in the Jim Cockrum coaching program. Very good friend of ours. And they said, well, which sourcing method do you like to use the best? And she said very clearly, all of them.
All of them. Yeah. Just like her, she's the tool lady too. Like, which tools do you like? I use all of them. If it saves me a click or it saves me a minute, I'm buying it.
Yeah.
Because time is money. Yeah. Yeah. I love her approach. And then you've got other people, that had 7-figure businesses and they used Keepa.
Just Keepa. Yep.
And Seller Central.
Yep.
And that's it. And they refused to spend a penny on any other tool. And it, I was always saying, hey, you could be so much more efficient, but they were just grind and hustle mode. And did it and had a very low overhead as a result, right? Both of them probably selling, very similar strategy for finding products.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one best way.
Right.
But yeah, I think that illustrates the point well. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to point out is like what we do here, what we cover in this book, it's agnostic of tools, right? It's agnostic of sourcing methods. You can bring your own. You bring your own, you plug it into the framework, and then you're off to the races. So, I was going to tell you when you were saying you had one person who just used Keepa. We actually had some coaching clients recently who came to us. They never even use Keepa. Like they just look at products, they look at them on Amazon and they send them in. And I'm like, holy, it was a mind-blowing moment.
How do you know?
I know.
But they were making money, huh? I mean,
that was kind of crazy.
We like to keep things, especially when you're started, or some people have to start over, or when you're in growth mode, low risk, low investment required, low education required, and high chance for success. And this book and everything that we do is all about that, because consistency is key, right? Consistency beats being correct every time.
Yeah, that's right.
It's 80% daily beats 100% once every time. Yeah. Well, you have an illustration about golf that you used to explain.
I didn't get a chance to go look it up, but I'm pretty sure I'm on point here, which is winning a major isn't what really the people who make the most money playing golf is not because they won a major necessarily. There are some for sure, but it's the golf players who are consistent year in and year out, and they finish in the top 10 year after year after year. Those are the ones who make all the money, right? Long term. So that's what we're here for. It's about consistency. It's about doing every week, every month, every quarter, every year, just doing the 80, even if it's 80%, although you'll get better and make it, 99 to 100% in most cases, but being consistent. And we talk about this business is so much a numbers game, not only from how you approach sourcing and testing and replenishing, but also how long you've been doing it, right? I think, there are a lot of quote unquote gurus out there who would say, oh, come and I'll show you how to make $1 million in 6 weeks. And, we've said this before too, like we can show you how to make $2,000 tomorrow, but wouldn't you rather have a system that does $1,000 week after week after week, right?
Yeah.
We're about predictability, sustainability, and scalability as opposed to the one-time, hit.
Right. Yeah, the opportunistic, now I'm off to find the next sale or a clearance aisle find or whatever, right? You're building a machine that produces results. You put money in the front end, it gives you more money out the back end, and other people can run it. We want to build that. And that's the beauty of the REPLENS and the reselling opportunity that we present is you can scale and automate and systemize as much as you want, or you can do on the hamster wheel model, but we strongly discourage it. Yeah. But yeah, it sounds like this book is going to just be a clarifying, a roadmap, a framework that you can build upon, and you can go many directions with it. But it's like the bare basic minimum of what you need to have clear in your head to jump into this arena without missing any of the important initial details. It's kind of what it feels like to me as I was flipping through it. Yeah, and it's based on a lot of experience. I mean, how many people have you guys coached, including your team at this point, if you had to estimate?
Hundreds.
So the last count, there were over 500 people. And sometimes we are the reactive.
In the one-on-one coaching.
Yeah.
Right.
Plus
versus the workshop. Yeah.
And the kickstarts.
There's quite a large number. And a large number of them have been on the podcast as guests. And some of those people have even come and joined us as coaches on our team. So, and I mentioned this at the end of the Proven Conference this year, like this new batch of, I say batch, I don't mean to, this new
fresh out of the oven, right?
Yeah. This new group of sellers that I'm seeing come to the conference and really start knocking things down. They're the future leaders here, and they're doing so well. Some of them have come up through our system, and others haven't. But I'm really excited about the future of this community just because of that. Like we got some really, really solid people.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah,
I agree. We tend to attract. We've created a culture. I think when it's all said and done, if someone were to analyze what's happened around here over the past, 15, 20 years, it's a culture that attracts people who are ready to take up a mantle of leadership and abundance-minded sharing of ideas instead of keeping it to themselves and seeing everyone as a competition. The norm around here is open-handed sharing. Like, hey, here's what works for me. Like, here's my favorite strategy. Here's the tool I use. What tool do you use? How do you use it? Show me. Because we know we're swimming in this rapidly expanding blue ocean of opportunity, which is just another reason. One of my favorite podcast episodes that you guys did, it's been a couple of years ago at this point probably, but you were just talking about all the other business things that you'd tried, and you were contrasting this with that. We're not in this because we're Jeff Bezos fanboys. It's because there is like you just said, Robin Joy, and you coined the term initially, low, 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 high, right? Low risk, low learning curve, low investment required, very high odds of success if you know the basics of the system. And then we can share that with anyone without creating competition for ourselves because the ocean is expanding so rapidly. So I'm excited that we've got yet another resource. Some people just listen to the podcast and that's how they do it. Some people get into the Proven Amazon course, put on their white noise headphones and just pound away and learn, right? Other people, they need a coach. They have to have someone to interact with. Other people, it's the different learning styles. A book, sit down with a book and a cup of coffee, and I'm just going to soak this thing up and figure this out over the weekend. Or, like we said earlier, reference it as they need it as well. So I think we've painted a pretty good picture who it's for and why you guys did it. But how do people get it? We haven't said that yet. I probably mentioned it in the introduction, but I want to hear from you guys too as part of this. What's the plan?
So just real quick before we go on to that, because you mentioned coaching, I want to be clear that this book is not meant as a replacement for coaching. It's not going to be a replacement for coaching. It's really probably not even going to be a replacement for the in-person workshop, but it is a great source of framework and actionable information that you can take. If you were ever confused about something, or if you want the sort of plan from A to Z, it's going to be a great resource for you. But coaching, actually, we were talking through what the different steps are, starting with the podcast. We're talking about the Facebook group.
Facebook group, free.
Yeah.
Proven Amazon course, low cost. Kickstart, low cost. Then there are workshops and webinars, and the coaching program itself is just outstanding. I mean, the number of sellers that have come out, success stories that have come out of that is just amazing to me.
We've said it before, but the whole, if you look at the top performers in any industry, they all have a coach, right? And so you can lone wolf it if you want to, or you can, join the community. This tribe, I think, is what really, you mentioned, why are we still here? Why are we still doing the Amazon business versus all the other businesses that we've participated in the past? And it's the community. In short, it's the community is the reason that 6 years later, we're still doing this versus however many, short stints we had in the other spaces.
Very, very short in some cases.
Yeah.
All right. So where do we get it, Brian? Okay.
So you can go to officialolsons.com. That's OLSONS. We get misspelled a lot because you see about 50-50 split between OLSEN and OLSON. But
it's all O's.
It's O-N.
Yeah, it's all O's. That's exactly right. So officialolsons.com and get signed up like early bird sign up, because we got some cool things that are coming that you can be a part of. I took a little note because I didn't want to forget.
What else do they get, Brian?
Yes,
but wait, there's more.
So if you go ahead and get on the list now for notification, you'll get access to a live Q&A call that we're going to have right around the time that we actually launch the book. Well, we'll go through live all of the free resources that come with the book. The way books are done these days, it's not just the book. You get the book and this download and that download and this audio. And so we have all that's going to be associated with this book as well. And so we'll walk through all of that. And then we're also going to have a drawing for a 30-minute strategy call with either Robin Joy or myself or both of us. And that'll be around launch date. We haven't nailed down the exact date yet, but go ahead and get out there and get signed up now.
So those particular things are going to be for the early signups.
Those are only for the early signups, right?
Sign up before July 31st.
Yeah. Obviously, if you buy the book after that, you get all of the resources that go along with it anyway, just not access to the live call. But one of the things we're really excited about.
Yes.
You want to do it?
ODO. Brian loves acronyms. It stands for On Demand Olsons. Tell us what that is, Brian.
So On Demand Olsons is going to be a interface between the users who come to the website and the book in a sort of a chat, back and forth chat. It's going to be in all the content is relevant only to the content in this book. But if you want to ask a question like, hey, I just tested this item, I'm not sure whether to replenish, or should I test this item or whatever, you'll get feedback from the On Demand Olsons little, I don't know what we want to call it. I hate to call it a chat bot because that sounds so, you know,
nerdy.
Yeah, but it basically it's what it is. It's like a live, it's not live, but it's a support mechanism that will give you everything that you need out of that book. That comes from Rob and Joy and I and our voice. You'll get that feedback right there on the website too. So that's launching on the same day as the book.
Yeah, we're very excited about that.
Outstanding. So you can actually interact.
Yes.
Is this like an AI bot driven thing that you guys have put together? That sounds cool.
Yes. So we've been threatening this on the podcast. Like we were talking about the frustrations that we've been going through to learn how to do this.
Yeah.
Is just like a lot of people when they come in to build their Amazon business, how frustrating that can be. So we have to learn this thing all over again. We finally got it dialed in to where we can basically take the content from the book and put it into a fancy old database, and then have it be able to interact with people online. So yeah, we're pretty stoked about that.
And it's going to be at officialolsons.com. It'll all be there.
That's correct.
Right. So even if people are listening to this way after July 31st, still get over there. You're going to have details, maybe some new special by the time, people hear this episode, if it's been a few months. But yeah, if you're hearing this summer of 2025, get in there, pick up a copy, and let's make this thing a bestseller on Amazon. Let's send it up the charts, right?
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think this community could make it a #1 best-selling business book, and that would make some nice screenshots for us to use as we promote this thing around. And
that'd be great.
It's super excited to promote this with you guys. And it's been a while since a leader in our community has put a book out there, so I'm pretty excited to give this one a big shove and get some people behind it, get them talking about it. Yeah. Did we leave anything out today that you wanted to discuss about the book and about what's going on right now? I mean, you guys have been cranking out great episodes. And for those, I mentioned it in the introduction, but just to remind everyone, if you want to hear the Olsons about once a week or so, once we're in our normal routine around here, they've got Coach's Corner, typically Wednesday episodes of our podcast. They do the workshops. If you're watching the video today, you've seen Brian take a few sips of water. I've got my mug right here too. The Keep Calm. Yep. Keep Calm and Test More ASINs mug, which is basically their workshop mug.
Yeah.
And right. I think we've even got, let's see if I can remember the link. We'll stick it in the show notes. But if people want this mug, you guys, silentjimdotcom/mug, I think it is.
Yep.
I'll stick it. Is that it? Yeah. I mean, I don't make any money on it. I don't think you guys do a nickel or something. But if you want to look really cool,
yes.
Like our Monday night lives when we do those on Mondays.
Yes, we have fun with that.
Yeah. Cool kids have the mugs, but but anything else you guys wanted to cover?
Well, I just wanted to mention, Jim, that this book is meant to help people get in motion and stay in motion. It's something that's very, very important. We want you all to be successful and to find success. And this is a way to get started doing that. But you do have to build it. You have to put some work into it. We want you to stop guessing and start leading your team towards success.
Yeah, and I would just get my movie announcer voice going here, because I did this before. I love painting this picture because it really starts with what do you get? It's outcome based, right? So imagine a world where every ASIN that you pulled out of your bag, like if it was a bag of Scrabble tiles or whatever, every one that you pulled out was a viable ASIN for you. In other words, it was a listing that you would sell on, and it came with a source that you trust. And now all you have to do is evaluate it for test worthiness and potential profitability. And you can actually absolutely have that world, but you have to build it. This book helps you build that. And it's not hard. It's not complex. It's just like doing some work up front so that you will have the option to pull in the bag, to pull a tile out of that bag. And every one of those things could be something that you would consider testing on. And you already have a great source.
Yeah, we tried to make it as simple and straightforward as possible.
Yeah, we really have matured this whole business concept from where we were 7-8 years ago. And to the point where I think, I even recorded a podcast episode not too long ago. I think people coming into it new right now have a lot of advantages. There's just so many things that have been automated, so many systems that have been clarified. Amazon has clarified so many policies that used to be gray areas and we didn't know if we were going to get punished or not. It really is a good time to step in. And I think what this book's going to do, I think the impact it's going to have is, we always talk about this period of intense focused effort when you're starting anything worth doing, a diet, a relationship, a new job, a business. There's your life's going to be out of balance for a while you figure out this thing. Intense focused effort required. I think this book is going to help people get through that season. So I've seen it take some people a couple of years. Like, what are you doing? Well, I'm only doing an hour a week. Okay, well, you need more time. It's hard to do when you only put a little bit into it. But if we want to reduce that time of intense focused effort to where you kind of enter that season of, okay, this makes sense. How much do I want to step on the gas? How much margin do I have financially? Time, building a team. I'm ready to step on the gas. Proof of concept achieved. But this book is going to help people go from like, I don't know, to let's navigate that period of intense focused effort. Now, what are we building here? What direction we want to go? How fast? Right? So I love that about this. It's just another way to help people through, because that is the trickiest part, that 0 to 1 season of business. And I think this book is really going to help people with that.
Robin talks a lot about when you go to the doctor and he's, recommending exercise or whatever, and you ask him like, well, what exercise should I do? What does he say?
The one that you'll do.
The one that you'll do.
The best one for you is the one that you'll do.
Yeah, same with sourcing, whatever. Yeah.
I look at sourcing the same way. That's why we made it sourcing agnostic, because sourcing needs to be done. Whatever works for you, that's what you need to do. And this will work with any of those methods.
And that intense focus effort, that period of time that you're talking about, Jim, it's not that, you're going 120% when your maximum is 100. It's not that necessarily, at least not in my estimation. It's more about if you're committing to it, then commit at 100%. Like, don't do it 70%, do it 100%. And while you're doing it 100%, before you get to that point, let me see if I can come up with this, like when a rocket is taking off, right? Before it gets into orbit, it's like a little white knuckle time, right? You don't have time to really think about much except make sure your gauges and your switches and all that kind of stuff are as good, because you're pulling so many G's and it's intense. There's a lot of stuff going on.
A little scary.
And then boom, you hit orbit and all of a sudden you can take a breath, right? This building the foundation is sort of like that, where you're like, there's a lot going on and you have to really hold on tight because it's worth it, because you're making a huge change and implementing it into your life. Again, not that you have to do 120% of it, but if you're going to commit to do it at 100%.
Yeah, I love the rocket analogy. Getting it off of the launch pad, it burns like 80% of the fuel. Getting it, 50 feet in the air. It's that's most of the work. That's that period of intense focus. And it doesn't have to be like, like you just said, it's not like you're going to put all your relationships and all your other hobbies and all your other interests on pause permanently for the next 6 weeks. No, but you do have to commit to the process. And it is going to be a slightly uncomfortable. There's a discipline element there that's probably not going to feel the same 6-8 months down the road, because it's going to be part of your routine then. None of us are disciplined about the things that we've been doing for 3 years. It's just kind of part of our routine now.
That's right. But eventually you will get to the point where you can start to buy back your time. Right.
Exactly.
You can
build systems.
With systems, right? And then you start. Sort of like I remember when I was going to night school, when I was getting my graduate degree, and I would come home from work every night, and I would go to school, and I would work 3.5, 4 hours at school, and then I finally finished that up, and I was like, wow, I had all this found time. What was I doing before I was doing schoolwork right at night? And the business was kind of the same way, because when I decided I was going to build the business, I was like, okay, come home from work and go spend 3-4 hours a night in the office doing the sourcing and all the stuff I was trying to figure out how to do. But yeah, that's basically what happens. You get to that point, and then you start getting the whole reason you started this business, so you could have the things in your life at the time that after you've built your foundation. Then you get your time back, spend more time with your family, work from the beach or whatever it is that you want to do with your business.
Yeah, that flexibility is the goal. Yeah, and it's interesting. You got to give up a little bit of that, but it's worth it.
That's right.
And then you get the reward. And I think this book is going to be a hit. I can't wait to get into the hands of other people. And it was an honor for me to be asked to write the foreword, guys. I truly I'm honored to work with you guys, and I love serving this community alongside. Just a couple of the most giving. And like I said, professional and attention to detail. You've helped this community earn a lot of respect that otherwise it probably wouldn't have ever earned, because you just bring a nice element of many, many positive things. So thank you for this. Thank you for writing this book. I want to get one of the first official autographed copies. I got the manuscripts, but I don't have a copy yet. So I want one of those right hot off the press. But yeah, well, any parting comments before we wrap this one up, guys? I think we've given some good value. And the website, again, is officialolsons.com. It's plural, right? Olsons.
Correct. Yep. Yep, that's right. I don't think I have anything else. Do you?
No, we're just so grateful for you and this community and the ability to practice doing things like this that we never got to do before. So thank you all.
Yeah. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor. Well, for those who hung out today for this episode, and maybe this is one of the first episodes you've heard of our show, I do want to give you a little disclaimer. Most of our episodes are interviews with our successful students who have been through our trainings, or they're very in-depth instructional how-to type stuff. So thank you for coming along today, because Brian, Robin, and I, we don't get together very often, the three of us, and do an episode. So it's good getting caught up with them a little bit. And we're very excited about this book. So make sure you do grab a copy on Amazon when it comes out. And hit me with the title again one more time. Path?
It's called Path. Yep. Prospect, Assess, Test, and Harvest. And
There
there's
we
a
go.
big, long subtitle that I can't remember off the top of my head.
That's big go to officialolsons.com. The link is in the show notes as well. If you're listening to this before the end of July of 2025, get in there and get those cool bonuses. And we'll have all those details on the website there. All right. Well, hey, good hanging out with you guys. Appreciate it as always. And we'll have another good episode for everyone soon, right?
Sounds
All right.
great.
Peace,
Thanks so much,
Jim.
Jim. We'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye for now. Thanks for joining us for today's episode, but don't leave yet. I got a couple minutes with a good friend of mine, Khang Dang. We brought him on the show a good handful of times over the years, and every week or so we get a short update from him on some incredible software that's changing how Amazon REPLENS sellers run their businesses. I'm talking about 3P Mercury is the name of the software. You can find out more about it at silentjimdotcom/the system, all one word. Khang is the creator, and I'm excited to see what he has for us this week. What's on your mind, brother?
Hey, Jim. Yeah, I just wanted to share kind of an excitement that I had. Like, so when we started building the software, I really meant to build the software just for me. I didn't mean to actually build the software for anyone. And the reason I built it is to manage our online arbitrage business, because I just started seeing how messy it was, and I did not want to go down the route of hiring more and more people just to manage the mess. I really wanted to systemize the process, enhance communication between the teams, and really kind of separate out roles and functions of the team, and have them be able to, do their daily tasks without having to, communicate, like, send messages to each other and that kind of thing. Who's doing what and what happened with this ASIN, et cetera. So I really, did it just for me. And I built that software specific to my business. But as we released this software out to the community, people were saying, "Hey, what about this feature? What about that feature?" And and it just dawned on me, like, oh, you know what? I never thought about adding that, because I don't do that in my business, but you guys do. So I started this down this journey, which I really didn't intend to do, but it actually, I think, is the most exciting part of the software, is that it became quickly a community built software, like a crowdsourcing software, where all the users are coming up with all of the features that they want. And since we started this beta release 7 months ago, we've implemented over 300 features, some from minor efficiency tweaks to major rewrites on my part, where it was just, it just made the software so much better than what I originally came up with. And, now that's kind of been our slogan, our motto is this is a community built software, and we're going to build
the first one, to my knowledge, in the Amazon seller market. There's a lot of tools out there, but this is the first one that was crowdsourced in its production. And we've had hundreds of people contribute. Like you said, I didn't realize there'd been over 300 improvements based on crowd suggestions. And we've got a lot of great ones coming. Walmart functionality is coming very soon. So it completely manages the workflow for that business as well if you sell on Walmart, which we'd love to see happen. We love to see multiple income streams, right? So your team's doing a great job. Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
very robust community.
Yeah, we've built so many things. And if you've been part of our community from the beginning till now, I mean, the software is just completely changed and different, and it's just morphed into quite an amazing thing. I'm really excited about the fact that our users are building the software that they want to use. And I think that's a pretty cool concept.
And for those who haven't heard of this tool before, it's important to remind you and to mention that this is the software that Khang used to run a $3 million REPLENS business, thousands of ASINs being sold, different products coming and going constantly with a tiny team. That's the most impressive thing to me that really got my attention is how small your team was. It was a couple people running a business that I see a lot of others having a business your size with a team of, say, 12 people running that business. No, 2 people. And you weren't even all that involved. You just checked the numbers and the system ran the whole thing. silentjim.com/the system. Go listen to podcast episode 754 if you want to get to know Khang a little bit better. One of, if not my favorite episodes for the past several years. Khang and I hanging out and going into some good stuff. You need to hear that. But anything else on your mind, Khang, before we wrap this one up? I think we gave people some good things to chew on today.
No, just looking forward to what you guys come up with next. And, I'll be announcing out to you guys like all the new features that you built, you came up with, and, to the future episodes.
Yeah, sounds good. We'll have you back again next week then for more updates, okay?